The majority of people suffer from pneumoconiosis. The population is rapidly declining, and the few who survive have all turned to farming to sustain themselves. Even so, the crops continue to wilt and successive crops are wiped out, leaving only corn as the remaining food. But the protagonist, Cooper, knows that even corn won't last long. Soon everyone will be starved to death. To survive, they must seek change. Cooper was once a NASA astronaut and engineer, but now he too has been forced to become a farmer. One day, a severe sandstorm hits, and Cooper rushes home with his daughter. His daughter suddenly remembers that she didn't close the window in her room. By the time they get to the room, it is already filled with yellow sand. Cooper closes the window, but he notices that the sand has fallen in a peculiar pattern on the floor. His daughter thinks it's a ghost because books from the shelf had previously fallen, forming a regular gap, as if a ghost was trying to communicate with her. Looking at the pattern on the floor, Cooper, with his engineering background, is forced to believe that some mysterious force is affecting the room. He carefully examines the pattern, trying to understand the message it conveys. And finally, he realizes that the pattern is not Morse code but binary. After decoding, it reveals a set of coordinates, prompting Cooper to uncover the mystery behind them. He drives alone to the coordinates but unexpectedly finds that his daughter has hidden in the passenger seat. With no other choice, he brings her along. From day to night, they arrive at a base surrounded by barbed wire. Just as Cooper is about to cut through the wire, a robot suddenly appears and shocks him unconscious. When he wakes up, he finds Brand standing before him. Brand takes him to a conference room where he meets old colleagues from NASA, revealing that this is a concealed NASA base. In an era where the public is intolerant of allocating resources to space exploration due to widespread hunger, this base has become the most hidden place in the world. The scientists are curious about how Cooper found this place. Cooper says supernatural phenomena led him here. He thought these scientists wouldn't believe him, but they did, because the scientists have discovered something even more bizarre. The school principal found that a wormhole appeared near Saturn, capable of helping humanity instantaneously traverse light years to another star system. A wormhole doesn't appear out of nowhere. It must have been placed intentionally. After initial exploration, the wormhole leads to a star system with 12 potentially habitable planets. NASA sent 12 pioneers to these planets, but only 3 sent back signals. Next, they need to visit these 3 planets, and they urgently need a top-tier pilot like Cooper. To ensure success, NASA has developed 2 plans. Plan A involves solving the gravity problem and building a massive space station to evacuate all of humanity from Earth. And Plan B is to abandon all of humanity, allowing Cooper and several astronauts to take 5,000 fertilized eggs and continue to propagate in outer space. Cooper does not want to abandon his family and children, so Professor Brand can only deceive him by saying, "Once you find a suitable place to live." He should have already lifted the gravitational attack. Upon learning that her father was going to outer space, his daughter angrily locked herself in her bedroom. Before departure, Cooper came in to comfort his daughter, telling her that for the future of all humanity, he must go. But the daughter said that she had decoded the code left by the ghost on the bookshelf, and the code had only 2 words, "Stay." Cooper gave his daughter a watch, telling her that time flows slower in space for him, and perhaps when he returns, they would be the same age. This statement completely devastated his daughter, and she threw the watch on the ground. Still, Cooper chose to leave. As he opened the door, books fell from the shelf again, as if telling him not to go, but he still left. After saying goodbye to his family, Cooper drove to the space agency. On the way, he hoped his daughter would appear again in the passenger seat, but she did not. After more than 2 years of travel, they arrived near Saturn, and finally, they saw the wormhole, a spherical and twisted space that unsettled Cooper. The school principal explained that the wormhole was spherical because it folds 2 spaces, creating a shortcut that allows humans to instantly cross galaxies beyond the first light year. Cooper piloted the spacecraft into the wormhole, with countless brightly lit galaxies flashing past quickly and the spacecraft shaking violently. Just then, Brand discovered a distorted space inside the spacecraft, where a transparent hand appeared, shook hands with her, and then disappeared. At that moment, the spacecraft also emerged from the other end of the wormhole, and the first thing that caught their eye was the beautiful yet mysterious black hole. Its massive gravity, strong enough to capture even light, also resulted in the formation of a beautiful accretion disk around it. The astronauts' first destination was a planet near the black hole. Due to its close proximity to the black hole, time flowed very quickly there, so they had to race against time. Upon entering the planet, they found nothing but a vast ocean. They exited the spacecraft, trying to move quickly, but the planet's gravity was 1.3 times that of Earth, making each step difficult. They reached the signal transmission point, but there was nothing there. Just then, the robot unearthed the wreckage of a spacecraft. revealing that the planet's pioneer had already perished. Brand wanted to find the recorder, so she walked towards the mountainside, not knowing that it wasn't a mountain. Cooper urgently informed the other astronauts to come back, but just then, Brand fell, and the robot, dropping the wreckage, rushed towards her and rescued her. When they returned to the spacecraft, a giant wave had arrived, and one astronaut, still outside the door, was instantly swept away by the giant wave. They didn't have time to close the door, and a large amount of seawater rushed into the spacecraft, lifting the spacecraft thousands of meters high with the wave, then crashing it back down to the ground. Finally, the giant wave passed, but the spacecraft's engine was waterlogged, and it would take nearly an hour to drain. 1 hour on this planet was equivalent to 7 years on Earth, which devastated Cooper. The brief time they delayed on this planet meant that decades had passed on Earth. Suddenly, the next giant wave approached, and before being lifted off again, they successfully started the spacecraft and escaped from the planet. Back at the space station, the scientist waiting for them had grayed at the temples. He said he had waited 23 years for them. Hearing this, Cooper was shocked. When he left, his daughter was only 10 years old. He hurried to the screen to play the videos sent from Earth. In the first video, his son had grown up and graduated from school. Hearing these updates, he smiled, regretting the many years he missed with his family. Thinking about this, he cried again. In the second video, his son introduced his children, telling Cooper that he was a grandfather now. Cooper smiled again, waving at the screen. In the third video, his son was middle-aged, with a rugged beard, saying that his grandfather had died, and his own child had also passed away. "Never mind, you probably can't hear this anymore. You're not coming back," his son said. The fourth video was the only one recorded by his daughter. She said it was her most special birthday because the year he left, he had said that when he returned, they might be the same age. Now, she was exactly the age Cooper was when he left. His daughter, grown up on Earth, had joined the space agency and was working with Professor Brand on the gravity equation, hoping to save all of humanity. But what she didn't know was that Professor Brand had already solved the equation, yet it still required an important piece of data that could only be obtained from a black hole. But anything that enters a black hole cannot come out, making it almost an insolvable problem. There was no progress on Earth, and the situation was not optimistic for Cooper either. They proceeded to the next planet, a bleak white world. As the spacecraft skimmed through the clouds, unexpectedly, the clouds shattered and fell, the temperature on this planet being so low that even the clouds were frozen. Could this place really be inhabitable? They arrived at the coordinates of the Pioneer and woke him from decades of hibernation. Seeing humans, he immediately broke down in tears. Difficult to imagine what he had gone through. The Pioneer explained that the planet's daylight lasted 67 hours. The surface temperature was extremely low, and the surface was filled with toxic ammonia gas, making it unsuitable for human habitation. However, there was a layer beneath the surface that was suitable for humans. When they returned to the spacecraft, they received a video from Cooper's daughter, who tearfully questioned her father whether he knew about the space agency's plan all along, planning to abandon them, leave she to suffocate and starve on Earth, and then die. It turned out that Professor Brand, before his death, had revealed to her that the plan had always been a mere facade. Without the critical data from the black hole, the gravity formula could not be solved. Thus, the space agency planned to abandon all of humanity, allowing Cooper and the others to carry the fertilized eggs to outer space to propagate and survive. Hearing his daughter's cries, Cooper's resolve to return home was even stronger. He could not abandon his own family. Before planning to return, the school principal told him that they might still have one last method, which was to send a robot into the black hole to collect data, although the likelihood was small. Before leaving, Cooper and the Pioneer planned to explore the underground layer. They came to the edge of a cliff, and during their conversation, the Pioneer suddenly pulled out Cooper's communication device and threw it off the cliff. Shocked, Cooper was pushed off by the Pioneer but managed to grab onto the cliff. It turned out the Pioneer had deceived them. There was no inhabitable underground layer on this planet. While apologizing, the Pioneer tried to kick Cooper down, but Cooper pulled him down with him, and they both fell to the edge of the cliff. Cooper demanded to know why he had done this, and the Pioneer told him he did not want to die on this planet. He just needed to press that button, and someone would come to rescue him. Cowardice had overcome reason, so he had sent the wrong signal. The Pioneer, realizing he could no longer keep his actions secret, engaged in a struggle with Cooper on the bleak white planet, a testament to human frailty. After a brief struggle, Cooper subdued the Pioneer. At that moment, however, the Pioneer rammed his helmet into Cooper, completely losing his sanity. This act had a 50% chance of breaking his own helmet, but it was the best odds he had had in years for survival. He gambled and won. Cooper's helmet was shattered, and large amounts of ammonia gas rushed in. It wouldn't be long before he would suffocate. The Pioneer fled, but what he didn't anticipate was that Cooper had just found a communication device on the ground. He immediately contacted Brand. Upon hearing the distress call, Brand quickly piloted the spacecraft for a rescue mission. She arrived just before Cooper's oxygen ran out. Meanwhile, the school principal was killed by the Pioneer, who then stole their aircraft and rushed toward the spaceship, intending to escape alone and leave them to die. Cooper chased after him in another plane, but it was too late. Fortunately, the robot did not trust the Pioneer and had not given him docking privileges. As expected, the Pioneer was blocked outside the spaceship. Desperate, he manually initiated docking without proper alignment. Ignoring the warnings, he forced the hatch open, but the tremendous pressure sucked him out, and the plane lost balance, crashing into the large spaceship. The explosion sent the spaceship spinning and plummeting toward the planet. Everything seemed lost. Without the spaceship, they would be stranded forever. Cooper was not ready to give up. He had to get home. Leveraging his years of aerospace experience, he piloted the plane to the bottom of the spaceship and maximized the thrusters to match the ship's spinning rate, achieving relative stillness. The immense centrifugal force was unbearable. Brand passed out first, but Cooper managed to hold on. Finally, the docking mechanism aligned perfectly and locked in place. Then, the plane activated reverse thrusters, gradually bringing the spinning ship to a halt. He had succeeded. They laughed with relief at their narrow escape, but the robot reminded them that they had entered the gravitational field of the black hole. Cooper quickly moved inside the spaceship, only to find that the damaged ship was critically low on fuel. It seemed they were now trapped in a deadly predicament. Gazing at the breathtaking black hole, Cooper proposes that they continue to press forward towards the black hole, then use the massive gravitational slingshot effect of the black hole to catapult them to the last habitable planet. Soon, they arrive at the accretion disk of the black hole. In front of the massive black hole, their spaceship is as tiny as a grain of sand. They fly close to the accretion disk, and the black hole's gravity is so immense that even time becomes distorted. The few minutes they spend there cost them 50 years of Earth time to escape the black hole's gravity and catapult themselves out. Cooper pilots the landing craft at full throttle. When the fuel runs out, the robot operates the landing craft to detach first, plunging into the black hole. Subsequently, the fuel in Cooper's landing craft also runs out, and he prepares to separate the spacecraft. It is only now that Brand realizes that the remaining resources are insufficient to reach the next planet. Cooper decides to sacrifice himself to him, in the face of love. The massive black hole is like a pure black star, mysterious and beautiful, because even light cannot escape. No one knows what truly lies inside a black hole. Cooper's spacecraft falls into the black hole, and countless twinkling particles rush towards him. Following that, numerous points of light heavily pelt the spacecraft's surface, the immense gravity pulling at him. Before passing out, the spacecraft gives way first, and Cooper ejects himself. He is engulfed in an endless darkness, only a singular point of the black hole in sight. He is sucked in, then continuously falls until he stretches out his hand to stop himself. This space, astonishingly, is composed of various lines. He forcefully slaps the lines, and they move, gradually transforming into bookshelves. Peering through the gaps in the bookshelves, Cooper recognizes the room across as his daughter's. He can only hit forcefully, knocking books off the shelf. His daughter is drawn by the falling books, yet she cannot see him. In despair, he turns to see countless versions of his daughter's room, each representing a different point in time. It turns out this is a 5-dimensional space, where time exists as a physical entity. He can see any point in time of the room, but the despairing fact is, he is trapped in this space. Suddenly, he realizes to stop his past self from leaving, he must leave behind some form of message. Cooper arrives at the point in time just before his departure. By arranging Morse code, he pushes books off the shelf so that the gaps form 2 words. His clever daughter deciphers the Morse code, but at the next moment in time, he witnesses the last scene of his departure. Suddenly, he remembers that his daughter had already told him that the gaps in the bookshelf were telling him to stay, but he still left. It seems that all of this was destined. He collapses in despair. But just then, Cooper hears the robot's voice through his earpiece. It turns out the robot is also alive. The robot informs him that they created this space and gave him the critical data from the black hole. However, this data cannot be sent out. In this space, Cooper can manipulate gravity to affect the past, since only gravity can transcend time. But what good is that? He tries, but nothing can be changed. Looking at the 5-dimensional space filled with his daughter's rooms, Cooper suddenly understands. Their intention was not for him to change the past or make history. They had chosen his daughter, and those who created this space and the wormhole are humans of the future. Realizing this, Cooper comes to the day of the sandstorm and uses gravity to manipulate the sand, leaving the coordinates of the space agency. Thus, He guides his past self to the space agency. He then sees his daughter holding a watch, the gift he gave her before he left. He knows the watch is the key. He instructs the robot to send the black hole data through Morse code. Then, he manipulates gravity to control the movement of the watch hands, intending to tell his grown daughter about the black hole data. The robot says it's impossible, but Cooper replies that the love between a father and daughter can transcend time and space. She will definitely come back, and she will surely understand the message he left. On the other side of time, his grown daughter returns to the room. Using notes she left years ago, she recalls what happened in the room. She suddenly realizes that the ghost on the other side of the bookshelf is her father. She tries to find the message he left, but she can't find it. Before leaving, she takes the watch with her. Suddenly, she notices the watch wasn't broken by her. Its irregular movements seem to follow a mysterious pattern. She understands this is the message her father left her. Her father has always been there. He never gave up on them. Finally, the daughter deciphers the Morse code and recalculates the gravitational formula. This time, she succeeds. Meanwhile, the five-dimensional space where Cooper is begins to close. He knows his daughter has succeeded. As the space closes, Cooper returns to the wormhole. He sees the spaceship inside the wormhole and sees Brand inside. He reaches out to her. Their first handshake as they cross the wormhole, and then Cooper falls asleep. When he wakes up again, he finds himself in a hospital. Humans nearby tell him they found him near the wormhole, just minutes before his oxygen ran out, and brought him back. Cooper opens the curtains to find a massive space station outside. Humans have solved the gravity problem and survived peacefully. When Cooper finally sees his daughter again, he finds she has aged significantly, but at least she has waited for her father to return. Cooper tells his daughter about the ghost behind the bookshelf. His daughter says she knew, and she always believed her father would return, though no one else believed her. Finally, his daughter bids him farewell. She doesn't want her father to watch her die. She has a family full of grandchildren, so she asks her father to leave and search for Brand, who is alone on a habitable planet. She continues the human propagation plan B in solitude, filled with loneliness and hope, and she is the one who needs him the most. Perhaps the future humans who once saved them are the new humans proliferated from this planet.